This is our video playthrough of our IAT 445 final project called Virtual Boyfriend. Um, and as you can tell from the title, it is meant to be some sort of a dating experience of having a virtual cartoon boyfriend. But a very wholesome one, and also one that's focused on a male character, which is actually very rare, especially in VR and the romance sim industry. So, in general, the reason we were motivated to make this and the reason we wanted to make this to begin with was precisely because of how overwhelmingly male-oriented the VR and romance simulator field is. With our instructions that are on screen that explicitly tell the user what to do, we've kind of included like a natural way of guiding the player to do what we want them to. Combined with like the immediately like intuitive mechanics of wearing the headset and holding the controllers, we hoped that with actual literal verbal instructions in the screen would guide the process easier. And from our testing at the showcase, I think people were able to catch on pretty well. I think it's very difficult to get to the level of work that we put into this without having a very clear motivation and goal to achieve. Like, we went as far not only to create custom animations and modeling for this project, but we also paid a voice actor. That's how far we went. Given the goal and our desired user experience. We wanted it to feel like you were really talking to somebody. So in terms of how we tried to achieve immersion specifically, we did try to focus more, in terms of the media immersion framework, we did focus more on the sensory and imaginative aspects rather than challenge, because this is not so much a game as it is an experience with simple tasks that kind of reflect what you might do in reality. Right down to even things like how our interaction, like the dialogue interactions are not based on clicking a button, but rather nodding your head or shaking your head, which, again, we use that to communicate in real life. So even our interaction design is specifically geared towards trying to make it realistic to some extent and effective process. And we managed to fix all the bugs that were in the showcase from a few days ago, so that's good. Creativity and novelty. How is this? Is there a clear and compelling argument about how this project is creative and novel? Yes. Why? Because, like we said, there are no virtual boyfriend simulations. Compared to the one existing virtual Karashi game, we really tried to drive home the interaction. I think it does show that how you can interact with a system, because naturally, players who are wearing the headset or holding the controllers, they naturally have to move around in space, which teaches them really quickly that they can actually move around space. And when they touch things that are interactable, there's a yellow outline, which makes it very clear that they should try something with it. So I think that works. And on top of that, we have the explicit instructions on the screen that tell them what to do, like nod your head, to eat a cookie, so on and so forth. User feedback and testing. So while we didn't have a specific playtesting period, we did incorporate the feedback that we received during the showcase a few days ago. Just mostly verbal feedback, both during the experience as well as when we asked them questions afterwards. Specifically, our professor Julia saying that the scenes were unintentionally very scary due to some of the bugs that we had. The lighting was very scary. There were a lot of issues that made it completely the opposite atmosphere that we were going for. So that was something that we really tried to fix. We just want to get out. We want to get out of the uncanny valley, which I think a lot of people felt while playing the game, and hopefully with more like the pseudo facial animations and the body animations actually working as intended. Hopefully, it feels a little more like our intended goal. Sound was an issue that was reported by a lot of people. And so we mixed our audio further to account for that. So as you can see, we've built like full environments that represent each of the scenes that you're in. So at no point, besides I suppose the start and ending credits, do you see anything that you're not supposed to see. There's no void, endless void that indicates this is a game. It's supposed to make you feel like you're in an actual place. Like the outside scene, for example, the very first one with the cookies. You are not standing outside of a house in the void. You are standing outside of a house in a street with many other houses and buildings that you can see clearly. So I think that really helps create a sense of place and presence. Yeah, and that's kind of the case for all of them, even if the other scenes are in a room. I think sensory immersion is really what we were, sensory and imaginative mostly, were what we were focusing on. Things like audio, interactive objects, and the environments. I guess that concludes our little discussion of Virtual Boyfriend. If you're wondering who this character is, don't ask me about him, you will regret it. But you can see a life-size cutout in the SFU studio, SFU Surrey studio, if you want to see him in real life. Any final comments, Jeremy and Fiona?